What's happening, guys? Russell Hance from Survivor, your co-host. No, I'm the host. I'm the host,
Yeah.
the co-host. Keaton, my boy right here. So now we have some pretty exciting stuff to talk about. And I really don't know how to break it down, but we're going to break it down as well as we can. So, Keaton, this episode was maybe the biggest mistake in the history of the game, or maybe it was the greatest move in the history of the game.
hmm
Give me your opinion on that.
Uh, man, I gotta say I just texted you this before we went live. I
Yes.
hated this episode
Okay.
from start to finish.
And I
Uh,
didn't I didn't text you back because I wanted to hear what you thought about that. So let's get that out before we talk about what happened.
yeah,
Why did you
so
hate it?
to me, this episode, man, and it wasn't from the people out there playing, had nothing to do with them. This had everything to do with what Survivor has become.
Mm.
What we knew Survivor is no more. In my opinion, because tonight this episode was so much manufactured
Oh,
drama by
wow.
production. I feel like, in my opinion, there was not one conversation tonight that revolved around gameplay that was not centered or linked to some kind of advantage in the game. Because in my opinion, the only real strategy and gameplay talk that we got was Omar and Lindsay going back and forth about if or Omar and Lindsay about if she was to be safe, who are they going to vote out and why and how are they going to do it? And it was all centered around Mike and his idol, Drea and her advantages. You know what I mean? And that was really the only strategy talk we got. We got opening the episode started really slow. It was, Romeo doing not much. It was Jonathan kind of the game starting to wear him down. He's getting a little grumpy around camp and stuff like that. And, the same thing we already seen, Drea and Lindsay wanting Jonathan out, right? But yeah, tonight to me, it was all it highlighted the the survivor that we've left behind and the survivor that we are in now. And for me, if I'm going to enjoy Survivor moving forward, I just have to swallow the hard pill of reality that the Survivor that I knew for 20 years is not a thing anymore.
Right. So you're saying that this episode, you as a super fan, made
Yeah.
you realize what's really going on.
Yeah,
Like,
me as somebody who's been a fan since, I was a kid, who grew up watching this game, who always wanted to play this game. Now I look at it and I'm like, that game that I wanted to play and I wanted to be a part of for so long, like I can still apply to go play Survivor, but that's not the same game that I had envisioned myself playing for all these years. And it to me it's only because of the amount of advantages that are being forced on these players and them having to adapt their game to it. But tonight, in my opinion, moving forward, this season and last season was a way for them to test stuff out, and to me it's been more flops and duds than anything else. I mean,
right,
we've now seen this do or die twist put into the game, and it has flopped 2 seasons in a row. We've seen the shot in the dark implemented now 2 seasons in a row with no effect at all, and it's like they were throwing so much at us, and it's affected the seasons in a negative way. And to me, I'm just kind of hoping that moving forward, maybe they look at that and they're like, man, okay, maybe Survivor isn't about all these advantages. But
I mean that's a hot take, brother. That's for sure.
yeah,
But I see what you're saying and I understand it. when it comes to this season, last season was a disaster.
Mhm.
Now they have this season. They lost. I think the official number was approximately 4 million viewers from last season. This season, so can you? I see this season they tried something last season.
Mhm.
At least I can see a little happening to where they're not trying to implement things. I think they knew they made a mistake for season 41, and now they're trying behind the scenes to edit. So this is what we have 41 that happened, and now we have 42 that's already been edited. It's done. So now we have to go back and fix this stuff. I think that because of 41, 42 happened. I think 43 will be way different. I thought 43 would be returning players. It's not, because they didn't call me. Because if you need anybody to save Survivor, it's me. Because everyone knows that I don't give a fuck one way or the other. So you're not going to get anything from me. But they didn't call me. As we speak, they're probably airing 43 and 44. So I think that they knew exactly what you're saying after 41. They tried to fix it and had limited time to do so. And now we have this.
Yeah, I agree, because we talked earlier on, like, how this season has mirrored exactly 41, right? This season is getting praised a lot more than 41, but if you look at it day to day, like advantages and twists and stuff, and the outline of the game, if you will,
Hey,
from
fix
like
your
a
mic. Fix your mic on your phone.
better now.
No,
No,
no. Yeah, take it out.
what
Talk.
about now?
Talk.
We good?
I don't know what's happening, but
Are we
go.
good now?
Well, it's like a clicky sound.
It's still not better.
Even when you talk randomly. Yes.
Okay, how are we now?
Nope.
Hold on, let me check. Let me make sure my Wi-Fi is
It's
not
just
disconnected.
it's a mic broken. It's static. Yeah, that's what the people are saying. Which I don't care. We do the static all the way home. Don't matter to me. What's happening, guys? What's happening, Patreons and members of the channel? Show your love. If you are a member of the channel, we're about to do something very new. I'm heading to look. I'm gonna do this right now. I am going. It is happening. I'm heading to Thailand, not YouTube. I'm not heading to YouTube. Hold on. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Hold on. Thailand, you bitches. I don't
Let me know
care
if you can
what
hear me
you
okay
know.
now, but I'm trying something different.
I'm arriving in. No, I'm leaving from Houston, and then I'm going to Helsinki to Bangkok. Let's go! It's already booked. It's happening. It's happening. This whole channel is going to be renewed. in a different level. All this survival bullshit. Try a new headset. Oh shit.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I mean, I'd rather that. Yeah, I'd rather that. Let's go. What you got?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Let's go with that.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, perfect.
Okay. So, why, like you as a super fan, I hear you. Now, a lot of people that watches my channel don't really understand how much this means to you when it comes to, playing the game. Like, who is this? They're like, who is this guy? What's this guy saying? Like, me personally, I have helped this guy for years to try to get on the show. He has been in the top category and talked to the top people for a bit. Now, I feel like you given up because we never went public. Like I'm gonna say we have never went public because
Right.
he wanted to play the game. He thought if he went live on my channel that it would be like maybe a bad mark, and it would be. And maybe it has. But it can't be any worse than it was before, so maybe it could be better. So but he wants to play the fucking game. This is my boy Keaton. You know it. And I respect the fact that you thought the episode that was probably in a lot of people's eyes was the best episode ever was a shitty episode.
Yeah, man. And you bring up a good point. We haven't revealed, on the podcast days when I came on, we didn't say who I was or who I wasn't. And the main reason for that was because, like, I'm opinionated and, like, I'm going to say what I think, if it's controversial or not. And, like, yeah, you're right. Maybe sometimes, like, I was worried, maybe it'll hurt me, chances of getting on. But at this point in my life, I'm kind of like, you know what? Like you said, I hadn't gotten on to this point, and I'm like, whatever I have to say, like, I'm not going to try and pretend to be somebody I'm not for them. Rather, if it's going through casting, rather somebody on a podcast or your YouTube show, whatever. And, my opinion's my opinion. And to me, like, if I was playing the game, I don't need these advantages that they have. I would be able to play the game and maneuver and work around them because I know my strengths in the game. I don't need this stuff. But the thing is like, yeah, it probably is a hot take. A lot of people, I think, walked away from tonight kind of on the edge of their seat. And I'm kind of like, okay, you're on the edge of your seat, but was it because of good gameplay? Was it because of good strategy? Was it because of, somebody that you were rooting for was about to go home because they were about to be outwitted, outplayed, and, they were ultimately going to be outlasted? In my opinion, the answer is no. I think tonight was top to bottom was about advantages that production, this threw everything at the wall this season. And tonight you saw a lot of them kind of unraveling. The do or die. You saw Drea go out of the game with whatever she had left in her arsenal. I know tonight, she obviously played her extra vote, right? Putting it on Mike. She played her knowledge is power advantage tonight. We saw a lot of advantages tonight go out of the game. To the point to where I'm really not even sure who all has something left. I know now Omar is in possession of Mike's idol, right? We saw that. And Marianne still has the idol that she found last week. And Lindsay.
Right. I mean, as we sit here, Omar is the boss. He is the only one that is fully aware of everything. And I think that's because of his social game. His somewhat of a submissive at first. Oh, you can trust me. I know nothing. Till he's trying to be the boss. And he's the boss right now. So Omar's in control of this game. as we speak, I don't even think he would believe it would. I feel like Omar has somewhat of the Russell spirit in him.
Mhm.
I don't think that Omar would believe that he was safe and don't play the idol in any circumstance. I mean, I think that he's a legit player, and I do not like how it went out today. I do like that Jonathan won the challenge because now, but wait, okay, wait. So now we have uh, people like strategic people that need to go home. So now we're on a different level when you play Survivor. That's
Mhm.
where we are. Now we're at the level that you say if if they played an amazing game, then we vote for them.
Yeah.
Strategically is the most important that people think. I don't think that that is ultimately because strategically, I mean, does it rare? I don't know the numbers, but I was the most strategic player in the history of the game. I lost twice being that guy.
Mhm.
So, does that really work? Who knows? Maybe we'll see this season.
Yeah. No, I mean, honest, in my opinion, I think at the start of Heroes and Villains, James said the people who win the most seasons aren't the most strategic. They're the social players, right? The talkers, the people who have the social game. And I think that stands true. Like right now, if you put Omar in the final three up against, say, like, Mike or Marianne, Lindsay, a lot of people that are still left in the game, even though from our viewpoint as a viewer, we see Omar as he's balling out. He's playing the best game. And typically when you're at home watching on TV, you can really see who's playing the most strategic games. Like
Who?
for example, what?
I mean, who? Because Romeo is not
Yeah.
playing. He's not playing anything.
Mm-mm.
So if Romeo wins this whole thing, then it's the same old shit. It's like
Yeah.
Sandra winning. If
Yeah.
if even Marianne, like the strategic players, how do they get to the end? By luck.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think as far as strategy, because so much of this game has been watered down with advantages, and you're going to hear me dog on them probably for the rest of the season just because it's really left a bad taste in my mouth. But like as far as like strategy and people who have really played a strategic game at this point, those left in the game are, in my opinion, Omar and at this point, Lindsay. I think Lindsay has really came out, from the merge and has really
But
played really
Lindsay,
hard.
but she hasn't really played strategically. She's just trying to play. She's trying to get Jonathan out, and then
Hmm.
that's what we see. And then she does challenges, and she can't beat Jonathan in any challenge here going for. And another thing, we haven't had a challenge yet that is not some sort of balance challenge. Every single challenge we have now is only balance, not even a puzzle. We don't even
Hmm.
see a puzzle.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
happening?
And the thing, it was kind of a running joke for a while where Survivor got, back in the early days, the merge and especially like the final immunity, like was always like they were real physical or they were endurance. How long could you last? How bad you want it? And then around the phase that you played in the game for a very long stretch, it was always like physical aspect to start it out, and you close the challenge off with a puzzle, right? And that was pretty much the blueprint for how we've seen Survivor Challenges ran for a very long stretch of time. Now, kind of like to your point, last season and this one, there's not been like any puzzles really, in the post merge part of this game.
None.
Yeah, yeah. And in a season where the cast really is not all physically equal, not even close, because you have Jonathan and then you have everyone else down here. To me, I'm kind of like, damn, I mean, like today, the challenge, let's talk about that for a second. Everyone set out except for Jonathan and Lindsay, the two most physically fit
All right.
people there.
So let's talk about that. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think I texted you on something that I was confused about. Was it
Yeah.
that? Was it that?
I think you said to kind of like break it down a little bit when we were on here.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, okay. So you're gonna break that down, but I'm gonna give it my perspective first, which
Yeah.
it's very for me. If you play this game and you think you're safe, then you're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Drea. You're stupid. Never, never not do a challenge. Always do the challenge. So, Keaton, because Keaton, he looks at things. I look things in a different way. This is the facts. I look things when I watch Survivor. I'm looking at it like I'm Russell fucking Hance. I look at it like that. You shouldn't do that. You should do this. When you look at it in the way that I probably should look at a super fan. So, what happened in that challenge? Because I feel that I don't think ever, no, I know never in the history of the game we had so many people sitting out and only 2 people doing the challenge.
Yeah, I can't think of a time, to your point, where even, if there's ever been a challenge, even like down to the final 3 and stuff like that, where only 2 people have competed head to head for immunity. You know what I mean? Where there was no one else competing. So I think you're spot on there. That I don't believe that's ever happened. Um, you know, with that many people sitting out, I mean, it kind of puts you in a spot where you, the Survivor player, me, the Survivor, hopeful, if you will, look at it, like you said, from different perspectives. I'm kind of curious, from your standpoint, you're standing there with the same group of people, right? Would you have set out knowing that if you're, because I want to run through this from both perspectives here.
No, I
If you,
feel you.
yeah,
There,
if you,
there were points in time. I think maybe in the history of the game, I think they had one time that I either thought about it or actually did. But I would now if I did it, I'd be Drea. Like I'd have idol after idol. I know I'm safe in my head. But when I did that, it was different than the world we live in now. It just doesn't work now. Nowadays, it doesn't work. You have to play the game. Never sit out. Never. It's so strange to me that people feel so comfortable with what is there, 7 or 8 people left?
They tonight before the boot, they were at the final 7 for the episode.
7.
Yeah,
That is incredible for me to think. Because I was thinking the other day, I'm thinking, how would I play this game again? This is privately in my head. I'm thinking, it's easy. I am so loyal. It is ridiculous. And people say, how? You're the biggest villain in TV history. I'll tell you how. My final 4 in FOA went to the final 5 in the game. My alliance never did worse than 7 in the history of the game. 7, other than when you throw a challenge and get rid of me and everything's out of whack.
Right.
It shows who I am. And I'm the villain. It's fine. I get it. Now we have this season. And we have people saying, I'm loyal, Mike. I'm loyal forever. Like we hear it now. And we see him backstabbing people. And he's likable for sure. I like him, but he's surely likable. And then we have people like Marianne that's super likable from the get-go. And then
I don't like her.
and then very unlikable at the end. No, I could see how people liked her, but then disliked her. And then we have Drea that was super calm, collective. That calmness, that collectiveness bit her in the fucking ass because she was so calm, she didn't know what was going on behind her. Then we have the big guy, Jonathan. We have Jonathan, and we have him. He's not a strategic player, but he is fighting. At this point, I don't know if he's about to be. I think he's about to be, but it may be too late. But I like the fact that he is pushing. You know? I mean, I don't know, man. That's all I got.
I mean, so in the sense of the challenge, like I get what you said, you know, how like you feel like now in today's day and age you gotta compete, you know, you gotta play in the challenge. And honestly, I agree with that, especially at this point in the game. It's really late in the
okay,
season.
wait, I'm gonna stop you for a second. Is there any time? Okay, your new season. You would be a new season, a new player, straight up from the streets. Would you throw a challenge? Like what? How would that work for you?
Would I throw a challenge? No. I would not throw a challenge, and here's why. Because in my opinion, in Survivor, if I'm playing right now here's the thing, okay? 15 years ago, maybe, but the game was a lot more simple 15 years ago. Now, I'm not throwing a challenge because this game now is designed to move so fast that, in my opinion, all you need in Survivor is one more guaranteed day. You have one more guaranteed day, and the whole game can completely change. Exactly. The old Survivor, it was all about laying the foundation. It was all about building relationships. Relationships back in the day were the key to the game because those relationships allowed you to do what you needed to do strategically. Now the game, there's not that like long, that slow burn. You know what I mean? Now the game is so fast. It is rapid speed to where like you just got to guarantee yourself one more day because more likely than not, if you're on the block or if your alliance is shaky, the next day the game is going to look completely different. So for me, I would never throw a challenge. I would never sit out of a challenge because all you need to do is whatever you can to guarantee yourself that you're there for one more vote.
So Drea sat out of the challenge. She went home.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see more and more in that. I hope we don't. But your rant at the beginning is very understandable. When it comes to, we just had 2 people playing this challenge. Two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to me, I want to know. Okay, this type of a challenge, it's based simply on endurance. It's based on how bad you want it. And to me, to be completely honest with you, if they're all sitting there thinking, man, Jonathan is going to kill this. Look, I have muscle mass on my body. I got a plane flying overhead, but I can tell you right now that type of a challenge, if more people played, he probably wouldn't have been the first one
But
out.
my problem with the whole challenge is we had two people playing.
Mm-hmm.
We have a game of Survivor going on.
Let me ask you this though:
Guys,
Do you?
wait. We have a game of Survivor going on, guys. A game of Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
This is your life. This could change your family's life. And then what you choose to do is sit because you think you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the problem I have with the difference of gameplay. Two people played this challenge. Two. Keaton. When in the history of this game have we had people that thought they were okay that much? Two people? Two. It makes no sense to me. Look, it makes it for me to where I don't even want to watch no more. That right there is like two people. Who wants to play this challenge? Me, nobody, because they're weak. They're weak ass players that think they're Survivor players, but they don't want to show the camera that they're weak ass bitches. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and well, let me ask you this. So, in my opinion, because this is part of what I had, like why I had an issue with tonight's episode, because the do or die twist they put in there with the little boxes and all that, this challenge and the lack of people playing was directly, in my opinion, related to that. Was directly related to when Jeff said, "Look, if you play this challenge and you're the first one out, you have to do this stupid ass twist we're putting in the game called Do or Die." That flopped 2 seasons in a row. I hope, first off, we never see it again. Part of the reason why I never want to see it again is because a challenge like tonight, one of the more interesting ones, because it's about how badly do you want it, how much pain, how much will you put yourself through to get immunity. Right. We see only two people play because they're all worried if they do play the challenge and they're the first one out, then they're going to have to do this challenge where you have only a 1 in 3 chance of being safe. Otherwise, your game is over. So, for people like Romeo or, Marianne, who are not more likely than not going to win this challenge, I can understand them sitting out. And then once you start to really narrow the field down, then you'd only have, 5 people competing. Then like your chances of being the first one, because if you were standing there, right, and you're sitting there thinking, okay, who's going to play the challenge and who's not going to play it, and you're just sitting there making a judgment, right, based on what you know of these people. And if you were standing there, you're like, okay, well, I know Romeo is going to sit out. That's one less person. I know Marianne's sitting out. That's one less person. Suddenly in your head, you're running through it, what people are likely about to do. And if you're in your mind, you're only 1 of 4 people about to play immunity, would you still, if you knew you were only more than likely it was going to be you, Lindsay, Jonathan, and say Drea, which she didn't, but say she did in your mind, we're going to play for immunity. The first one of you 4 to drop now has a 1 in 3 shot of going home because of this stupid ass twist they put in the game, which is put in the game to create drama, production created drama.
Right. But I'm playing.
You're playing. And
I don't see any. There's no option for me I'm playing. What would you do?
Mm-hmm. I would play. I would play in the sense that I would not let myself be the first one to drop. Right? I would not let myself be the first one to drop out of the challenge. So therefore, like, I would play. You know what I mean? Like, because to me, like, once that first person drops, they're going into that twist, not me. But, you know, the thing is that you would just have to really assess the people you're out there with and be like, man, how many people are going to play? How many are going to sit? This cast being not very physical at all, you would probably have the sense that not many were going to compete, right?
Okay.
And here's the thing,
Well,
Lindsay.
okay. So what is the positive aspects of not competing? Because I'm confused with that.
Yeah, the positive aspect, I mean, for them is that they just simply don't have immunity, right? They don't partake in the twist
So every
whatsoever.
every single person that's not competing, they think they're good. We're good. We're good. I'm
I
good. I know I'm not going home. Is it like that?
I think for some of them it was like that. I
It
think
was
for like
all. It had to be all of them.
yeah, I think for some of them, like for Omar, Marion, I think they were thinking, I'm good. I don't need to risk it. For certain other people who had no chance in the challenge, like a Romeo, I think they were
Yeah.
sitting there thinking, you know, if I don't win this challenge, if I fall out first, I could potentially have to go into that twist and I'll be out of the game.
Yeah.
So to me, it's another example of how a bad play, a bad twist in the game affected the season on a bigger level because you had a challenge, you had a whole episode that was all about these people sitting or not sitting in a challenge, and ultimately, to your point, you only had two people compete. And if Lindsay was so on the fence about not competing, here's where the twist would have really
But
flopped for everybody
what
else.
happens if no one competes but Jonathan?
Exactly. Does Jonathan get immunity?
That's
And
crazy.
and
Crazy.
so Jonathan gets immunity in that point, right? And then you go into tribal council where this twist that they had, which basically scared everybody away from immunity, and Jonathan got it handed to him. Now the twist has no effect in the game because nobody was out of the challenge
Okay,
first.
so now I'm gonna do I'm gonna do my player's performance, obviously, after this. But then I think I need to do another video called The Dumbest Player in History.
Who is that? Is there somebody from this season that you would
Yes.
beat? All right, give me a hint. Did she go home tonight?
Yes.
But, okay, here's the thing. Drea, one of the
I mean,
most
how come she can't
overconfident.
be? How come she can't be, dude? Look what's in her arsenal. She did it wrong. She
Hmm.
played it wrong.
She
She
played
had
it completely wrong.
she had everything, and she played everything wrong. She just
Hmm.
she trusted Omar
She
instead of
trusted
trusting
Omar.
herself. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, she did. She trusted Omar, man, and that we got to give Omar loads of credit here. If he win or lose, Omar's played the best game this season. I'm
Yes.
just going to put that out there
Yes.
right now. The
Yes.
best player of Survivor 42 is Omar.
Easy. Easy. Win or
Yeah.
lose, easy.
Yep.
Nobody else even compares.
No, not even close. And for Drea, she was overconfident and she trusted the person who was playing the best game this season. So while she did completely misplay her hand, I think her overconfidence and her falling victim to the better player of this season, to me, I don't know that she's one of the dumbest, but she is.
I
I
mean, listen.
I'm
Okay, let's
retracting
put it
some of
this
the
way.
credit I gave her.
Let's put it this way. Let's say she doesn't trust anybody, right? At
Hmm.
this point. And then she's like, fuck all of them, basically.
Hmm.
And then she takes Mike's idol before this stuff happens. just you give me your idol because it doesn't say the time period. You can take it. That's
Right.
production that does that. You give me your idol right now. She has 2 idols now. She can play back to back, and then she has 2 votes, a still a vote and some other vote that she can. So she could, after she goes back to back, at this point, then the field gets less, and then she could play that still a vote or the vote, the extra vote, and then the other vote that she has. She played it way wrong.
Let,
Go ahead.
let me ask you. So, do you remember the vote count tonight? Did Mike, because Drea voted for Mike, did he only get the 2 votes from Drea, or did Romeo? Do you know offhand? Did anyone else
They'll
vote for
know,
Mike?
or viewers may know. Hey,
Yeah,
tell us the
because
vote count.
because I don't, because, and here's another thought that Drea, everyone in this game thinks you got to have the idols, right? The idols are how you get ahead in the game. In my mind, Drea was attempted to take Mike's idol tonight to play it tonight, right? Let me ask you this. She could have taken an advantage as well, okay? So it was the final. Let me run these
Why
numbers
didn't
really quick.
she play it? Why didn't she take it before all this?
Well, I don't know. And like you said, that might have been a production thing, kind of like you
No,
can or
it
can't
was a
do it.
mistake.
I think they would have let her.
She could have taken it. That was production that because she took it here because she wanted to show the viewers what she's doing. She should have took it before this ever happened. It would have gave her an idol. She
Right.
didn't do that.
Right. Yeah, I'm really curious what the vote was because here's what I would have done being Drea, okay? Because everyone is always worried about these idols, okay? If I was Drea in that spot, I wouldn't have tried to stolen an idol. And this is if I think Romeo voted with her for Mike, but I would need this to be fact checked in the comments before I can say this would be a great plan. But if I was Drea, I would have stolen Marianne's extra vote. I would have stolen somebody's extra vote because if she did that, Romeo would have voted, right? Drea would have done her original vote. Drea could have used her extra vote she already had, and she could have used the vote that she stole tonight, and that would have been 4 out of the 7. That's majority, and she still could have sent home Mike. But she didn't do that. So, that would have been my play personally. Again, that only really works if Romeo voted with her, and I can't recall if he did tonight or not. But to me, that's the better play. But people always feel like they got to go for the idol because idols are just this great, powerful thing. But to me, the knowledge of the idol is more important than actually having it, knowing where it is, who has it.
I think Drea went from the Russell Crown to the dumbest player to ever play the game. She
Even dumber than Eric.
Eric made one dumb move. One.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, it like she had the arsenal to easily get to the Final Four. Easily. And she didn't know how to work with it. She actually listened to other people around her instead of controlling the game. When she was in control of the game, she's listening to Omar when she's in control. Listen, lady, you're in control right now. You don't have to ask questions. You make demands. That's what you do.
Yeah, in my opinion, man, I'm looking back now and I'm sitting here and and this is just me re-evaluating Drea's game from day one to right now. And, I've always thought of Dre as being a good player. I thought she was doing really well. Now I'm starting to rethink it and thinking to myself, okay, were you a good player or were you a lucky player
Yes.
who happened to be in the right place at the right time and had all these advantages? Because so much of today's game, I talk about it with some personal friends of mine, and the opinion shared amongst us is that the game now is more so about luck than it ever has been before.
Yes, of course.
Because with these advantages, getting one, you got to be. I mean, they hand them out like candy on Halloween, right? But you still got to be fortunate enough to look up in the tree at the right time and see an idol just hanging out there,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever the case may be. And to me, I'm kind of like, okay, was Drea, was her gameplay overhyped because she was so fortunate to come across all these advantages? Because looking back on it, I don't know what Drea really did except have all the, anytime she was given a confessional or something, it was her finding another fucking advantage that was laying on a bush somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't so much about her really good gameplay or strategy, because her pre-merge, if you remember, was mainly about her not getting along with Tori. And then her post-merge was really identifying Jonathan as a big threat and always talking about what it would be like to vote Jonathan off. Well, now Jonathan's still there. She's on the jury. So it's like, how much, how good of a player was she really? Or were we all just advantage blinded and giving her a lot more credit than she really deserved? I think Drea was more the center of controversy with the one episode. I think she was more the center of a lot of advantages falling into her lap than she really was at a great game player. And that's my opinion now. Being able to step back now that she's gone, I got the love goggles off, right? I woke up the next morning, I sobered up, I looked what was laying next to me, and I'm like, damn, your game was not as beautiful as I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm just like,
Listen.
look,
Okay. Drea was I liked Drea from the get-go. I thought she was calm, collective. She was super comfortable in the game of Survivor. Then we see her getting bamboozled right here
right.
by a great Survivor player, Omar, because he's the
Right.
one that did that. So
hmm
she just got bamboozled. This is what it just happened. Omar just did that. The whole thing, for sure, he just did. Now, was she a great player? Probably not. Um, I mean, was she a interesting player? Probably not.
hmm
I mean, but now we have to watch her.
Right.
She's calm as fuck. She is constantly in the right mood. And to be fair to her, she said that she wanted to play this game calmly without people looking at her while as people look at people of color.
Right.
So did she
And
did she play that calmly because of that? That is, I mean, I don't know. I don't think so because I feel like she's just that type of person, just a calm person. So, do you think that her not playing so aggressively would be because the color of her skin?
I personally, my
You
quick thought
see,
on that.
nobody's gonna talk about that shit, but we'll talk about it because this is a real science show.
I mean, in my opinion on that, like, I think first, let me say the key reason why I think she played so calmly is because of all the advantages that she had. I think if she did not have
Well,
all that,
I don't agree with that. I think that she's a calm person already by nature.
sure.
I feel that with her, but w- because of what happened this season, we have to
Mhm.
talk about other issues
Yeah.
because she's the reason that we're talking now about two black people on the jury and then a white person, and then she voted out another brown person, and then her.
hmm I if it had any correlation like to her playing calmly, I don't. I think in a sense that I felt like she got out there, and like you said, I think she was calm by nature. Right? We can agree she's probably
Yeah.
that. Probably translates to her day to day life. I think the advantages gave her a cushion, and also I think too getting out there and being a person of color and looking around and probably being a little bit in shock to see that you're a part of one of the more diverse cast ever on the show. I think that probably also gave her a sense of comfort. I think she was also probably able to, you see,
Wait,
she
wait.
probably,
One of the most diverse. There was
oh yeah,
half of them though. Half of them were diverse.
nah, well,
So
well,
you think that she thought in her head, oh, so I'm looking over here. There's only this many white people, and then there's this many people of color. So let's play the game.
yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
You think she
I, I
thought?
I personally do. I think for people of color, I think going into 41 and 42, it was a very big thing to where they felt kind of alienated and they felt kind of like their games were more of an uphill battle because they were people of color. Just looking at kind of like what a lot of Survivor past contestants who were people of color who kind of spoke out for the changes in casting, a lot of them commented and said, look, we felt like our journey was harder, not equally hard, but harder than people who were not people of color on the show Survivor. And so for these new people who have never played before and they get thrown out here and they look around and they see, like you said, an equal, diverse cast. I think for them it was kind of like a sigh of relief and kind of like for them to feel like they
I
didn't
see.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like she felt uh, more comfortable, quite literally in her own skin, to be who she really is and play the game more true to her. And
Right.
I think just something like that for a person of color going out there and seeing that and being like, wow, that is a relief. I think even that probably
But
takes a
why do you
big.
bring it? But why do you see it? Then why do you
Mhm.
bring the color thing? This is what happened. She sees it. You're right. She's seen it. Excited. People of color all over. But then they still bring it up.
Mhm.
I think that is a weak ass play in the game of Survivor. Now, Survivor is a game. We're not talking about real life. You talk about real life, that's another fucking podcast. This is a game. But when she got to that point, do you think that she was like, I feel like I'm invincible? And that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people so far this season, you've seen more people play themselves out of the game for whatever the reason may have been. Drea, I think, was too calm. I think she was too comfortable in her standing in the game. High last week, I think High was too cocky. I think he
But
was
could
too
Drea
confident.
be, listen, nobody's going to ever say this. Could Drea be the dumbest player to ever play in the game? So
I think.
who's let's talk about our first two. We
Mhm.
have James. These two of these.
Yeah, that's my dude.
We
Yeah.
have we have uh the ice cream scooper,
hmm
right? We
Yep.
have And then we have a third person would be JT giving me his idol.
Jay,
Now,
are we talking
I
about the
know.
dumbest or the worst?
I mean,
Because JT got progressively worse.
I
The,
know. I mean,
the
he did, but I'm just saying, dumb moves. What was in her pocket? Let's talk about that.
mhm.
What was in her
Yeah.
pocket? Was what? Because this won't ever be said. Ever. No one will talk about this moment but us right now.
Mhm.
So this is what I want to talk about. James is two of these. And what was in her pocket?
Yeah. So I think people will look at it and say, and kind of her going out tonight, she was like, man, I went down fighting. I went down doing this. I went down playing everything I had, whatever. Here's
But
my
she was
take on
wrong,
that.
though. She was
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. I think they tried to, because here's the thing, okay? In my opinion, production loves Drea. We see Drea play this game again. Fact. Right
Oh,
now, you can
easy.
take
I'm
that check
okay
to
with
the
that.
bank.
I'm okay with that, though.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. But here's the thing, Drea, I think they tried to paint her exit in a positive light, saying, like, oh, I went out fighting, I did this, I whatever. And it's like, yeah, but you literally did everything wrong. And that's why you got voted off.
Right.
They're not, but like
So
you're saying, they're not going to talk about that.
look,
They're going
I
they're
need to deep dive in this because I think that move from Drea was the dumbest move in the history of the game. Because
mm,
first, number one, she was wrong. Number two, she had all this other arsenal that she could have used. Because I was ready to see Drea at the end. Easy. I was like, oh,
yeah.
she has too much. She has too much. Listen. Okay, Drea, take the idol before tribal council. Get two idols. You have two idols, use one. Don't tell nobody. Oh, he may tell some people when you take it, but take it. And then use that, protect yourself, because they will vote for you. Protect that. Next, protect yourself again. Next, use votes. Next, it doesn't matter. You're in the final five.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, is that like there's also, she could have won immunity, which would have at any point in time she could win immunity, which would give her one more vote in the game, right? She would get one more step closer to the end. And we talked about this, I believe, the first episode that I came on, and it was that she had so much. All she had to do was play aggressively, play it smart, and also too, the thing is, like, tonight at Tribal, I feel like Drea was so wrapped up with production because she always had an advantage. She's like, oh, I got an advantage. What should I say about it? Well, come over here. Come talk about your new advantage you got, right? She was so wrapped up playing production's game, in my opinion, that last week we seen her saying, man, that lit a fire under me. I got to stop playing with my heart. I got to be aggressive. I got to do this. If I want to get to the end of the game, I got to be aggressive and play hard. Then tonight at Tribal, she said, I sit and I observe, and I sit and I observe.
Right.
That's fucking aggressive. That's a fire getting lit under you that you sit and you watch everyone.
That's
She literally
worse.
said,
Yeah, that's fucking bad. If I
yeah.
was on the outside looking in, I'd be like, "Oh shit, really?" No.
Yeah, so I'm like, to me, I'm kind of like, I don't feel like she played a game I don't feel like she really played the game. I felt like it was advantage found. Okay, let's go over here and do a segment about this advantage. Oh, I got another one. Let's do a segment. She was so worried about everything she had in her pockets that she wasn't worried about playing the actual game. And she got too comfortable and was just like, I have all these advantages. I'm set. But what she didn't think about was how she was going to use them strategically to advance herself in the game. Because like you said, every advantage that she had, I don't know that she played one correctly.
Right.
I don't know that she played a
She
single
didn't.
advantage correctly.
No, she didn't. So
Yeah.
that's what we have. I liked Drea
So did I.
because
I want
be, because she was so calm,
to.
and but I think that hurt her
Right.
at the end of the day, and she had all these idols, and I will be here to say that Drea is probably the dumbest person in the history of Survivor because she had so man. There's no way with what she had, her arsenal. She shouldn't have went. She should have trusted nobody. She
Right.
should have just went. She already knew who had idols. Then she started telling people, I'm gonna take his idol." She told Omar that I'm gonna take his idol, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
mine. Like,
Yeah.
are you really telling any? You could have done that without telling anybody.
Yeah, she could have. A good friend of mine that I talked to, big survivor, his name is Derek. Shout out to Derek, and he texted me right when that happened. He said, "That's why you don't tell people," and what you just said, right? So it's kind of like she did not have to say anything. You know what I mean? She did not play. I'm starting to come around on. I like Drea. We've talked. I've said that since I came on here. That has not changed. I still like Drea as a person and a player. James, also one of my favorite players ever. Both in the conversation for dumbest move ever. Okay, Drea. No one has ever in the history of Survivor, yourself included, who has had multiple idols across your time playing. No one has ever had the amount of advantages in the game that she had, and not one of them was played correctly. So,
And she will not be considered the dumbest player ever.
not by the masses, no.
No, well, she won't be ever nowadays because she's black. So it's never going to happen. James, but James is not black. He's just a big. It makes no sense. Listen. Nowadays, Drea. No, not the dumbest player ever. Because we can't say that because she's black. We can't say that. James, we could say because that was in what 2019. So James was black. We could say it. That black motherfucker did. He was just stupid. We could do that. We could do that because that was back in the day. Now, no, sir, can't do it. Even though I'm gonna do a podcast on her. We got somebody. Appreciate the $5, brother. I'm gonna do a podcast on saying how she may be the dumbest player to ever play. It is what it is. Hey, I gave her 2 Russell Crowns, I think. 2. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look what she did. She was calm, but she was stupid.
Yeah, she really squandered it, man. I mean, I've been high on Drea all season long. I do my own.
Wait. What? You've been high on coke all season?
No,
No,
no, no.
no
Can
coke.
Can't afford that in Indiana. No, dude. But
Let's go.
right,
Yes,
but no, man. I've been really high on her all season long. My own. You do your rankings, I do mine. I think as a consensus, I think she was always really high on most people's radar. Kind of like, man, Dre is playing a good game. Dre is doing good. Nothing but like positivity for Drea up to this point. Just the last
I've
couple weeks.
always had that, dude. I have her back. I have her back, but she's still the dumbest player in the history of the game.
Yeah, she blew her
Wait,
opportunity.
can I make that assessment? Who's the dumbest player? Can I do this? Can I do this YouTube like the YouTube video that I want to do? Can I make that happen? The dumbest. Who's the dumbest players ever?
I can make you a good list, but I mean, everyone knows the James.
Give me your list.
The James, Eric, Tyson. The thing is, though, is kind of like, okay, people can make a dumb move, but people want to say, "Oh, JT, one of the dumbest players. His games got worse, no doubt.
Yeah,
he still won."
I get it. The
Right.
move could have worked, but this move was okay. The JT move could have worked. If it works, maybe the best move ever. Her move just now, it makes no sense. Why wouldn't she protect herself?
Yeah. What I want to say about it is that people look at James and they say, "Oh, terrible move." Well, people don't realize if he got past that vote, and if talking about the most physically fit guy to play up until, Jonathan, right? If he didn't play those idols that night and he got to the next stage in the game, he could have likely won at least 1, 2, maybe all the immunities. But he was in a position to get to the final 4 just by having those 2 idols in his pocket if he didn't get blindsided that night. People look at one move and they say, "Oh, you're horrible." Eric gave away the necklace, dumb move. But he played again on another season and got to the final 5, I believe, a second time. Is he a bad player to get to the final 5 2 different seasons? No. JT and Tyson both made some of the dumbest moves ever. They're both winners of the game. But what you have to look at, in my opinion, is Drea didn't just make one dumb move. Every advantage that she misplayed, that she did not play correctly, can be looked at as a flaw in her game. And if you tally up how many advantages she had, that's a lot of blunders in one season to make by not playing them correctly.
Did she make one correct move from all the idols she had in her arsenal? Did she make one correct move?
No, because she played her initial idol on a tribal council of high emotion. Did not play. Did not.
Right. I hear you. So that is the dumbest player in the history of the game. She, in my opinion, everything you just said makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna like this, and I've been a fan of Drea. She is now the dumbest, and I'm gonna do a YouTube video on this to let you go. Everybody know why, because this is gonna be controversial, obviously.
Yeah.
Why is it controversial? Because she's black. James was dumb as fuck. So how is that not all of a sudden it's controversial? Anyway, yes, I think that may be the dumbest move in the history of the game. I think she may be the dumbest player because of what she had. And then when she used one item of what she had, she didn't even get that right.
Yeah.
She had 5. She had 5 items. Dumb. and they're gonna hate on me because of the color of her skin. Because because of the world we live in now. Which, guys, I don't give a fuck. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I know who I am as a person. I know who I am. I lay things and layers of the game of Survivor. That's what I do. It's not about color. It's not about how you were raised. It's none of that. It's about what I see. When I look at somebody that plays Survivor, I see a person, a human being. I don't see a random, oh, you think I'm seeing a black person? Oh, that's a black person. Oh, that's a Mexican person. Oh, no. That is ridiculous. And I will always be who I am. And that's what it is. And I feel like that I have to say this because of the last 2 seasons. I feel like it's racist if I don't say something like that because of the last 2 seasons. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's to the point now to where it's like I feel like the whole world, and this is just in just so many different aspects of life, you almost like have to check you really have to check yourself before you speak, and then even afterwards, you have to
Right.
go back and
Right.
it's almost like you have to have like a disclaimer pretty much at all times, like this is not anything I say is just talk about the game. It doesn't reflect my personal views or it's kind of like that type of thing, because people can take it was funny, it was a topic at tribal council tonight, but it applies quite literally in real life, that like people can take something out of context, and people can hear one thing, hear one word or one tone, and make it into something that it's not, right?
Right.
Mike was talking about that in tribal about the game of Survivor, but that applies to all aspects of life, especially in this very hypersensitive world that we live in now. When there are such talks of race and stuff like that involved in the topics. And the thing is, in my opinion, like I'm like you, if I were to play Survivor, or when I watch Survivor, I don't look at people the color of their skin. If they have a buff on, they're a Survivor player.
Yeah,
To me,
right.
that's it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Right.
that's how I view it. I know that's how you view it. And that's how I wish all the players viewed it moving forward, because it's only going to be, because most people, speaking from myself, people don't look or think certain ways. It only becomes a topic of conversation when it's brought up that way. You know what I
Right.
mean? When somebody looks at it, and when Drea looks at the jury and takes that and applies that to it, it's just kind of like they weren't voted off because of that. I don't think Drea, I don't think labeling Drea as one of the dumbest or the dumbest, player in Survivor history has anything to do with that. Look at because you're basing it simply off of what she failed to do
Right.
in
Right.
the game,
Right
right?
here. Yes.
So I on that note, like I support it. I agree. I think she has made the biggest blunder in Survivor history.
Wait. So dumbest players ever: JT, Ice Cream Scooper, and James.
James.
Is Drea in there?
Dre is in there. I think here's the thing. I think you have to. If you're basing them, the 4 you just said, arguably, they're all stars and they're legends of the game, right? All
Right.
4 of them.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
If you can sit there and say these people, 2 winners included, have moments that categorize them as dumbest move / dumbest player, right? They're in that category. Drea having the most advantages of any Survivor player ever to play not a single one correctly
Damn.
is in that category. She has
Oh,
to be. She
yeah.
has to be.
No, I'm
No
putting that.
matter.
Hey, this is it, guys. I am going to do a YouTube channel. I think I have to look more into this with Drea.
Yeah, I'll come up with a list too, like off the
Yeah, we
podcast
could
of
do
people
that.
who have
Yeah,
made
yeah.
really big
Yeah, for sure.
blunders and stuff. But
We appreciate you guys for watching. This is an hour and 15 minutes. I'm not going more live after this like I usually do because I'm not at my house. And usually, you see, different settings. We got screwed with Suddenlink again. Story of my life. But that's all I got. Keaton, I appreciate it. I'm glad we
yeah,
got
man.
this because we wasn't sure we even got this. But it's very interesting if that was a dumb move. I think that you and I are the only people that will talk about her as a dumb player. I don't think that's ever going to happen due to how it went down. But I will.
Yeah.
Oh, I will. You
Yeah.
better believe. I'll tell you how dumb she was probably next episode. Until then, keep hope alive. give it up.